Kristine, you have over 20 years of project management experience, during which you've held the position of project manager, program manager, portfolio manager, and were responsible in director positions for the establishment of company-wide project management offices. It's an impressive trajectory. Can you tell us about your career and how you began in project management?
Sure. I mean, I often describe myself as somebody who became an accidental project manager. I can't say it was something that I necessarily set out a course for intentionally, but just through the nature of the first jobs that I had when I graduated from university with my business degree. I actually ended up in a high-end technical sales position, and then quickly became far more interested in what was happening after the sales of these big computer solutions that were sold to our customers. So realized that I was more interested in the doing part of it versus selling sort of led me to an interest in project management. I moved to another smaller organization whose business was growing, and they needed somebody who could help keep them organized with all of their sort of customer solutions they were installing. So they took a chance on me that I could be that person, and I took a chance on them that they could keep me gainfully employed. And that started my career as an accidental project manager, and then just naturally evolved from there, to be honest.
Sounds good. So in your evolving, you went from project manager to program and portfolio manager. Which one of those roles did you find most rewarding, and what were some of the challenges you felt in those roles?
Yeah, I think every single one of those is rewarding in its own way. Because as you go from being a project manager to program to portfolio, just the complexity and the difficulty of what you're managing tends to increase, at least in my experience. So everyone was rewarding when you could step back at the end of the day and take a look at what was accomplished within each project, program, or portfolio. As a director, growing project management teams and growing project managers, I think was probably one of the most rewarding part of it, was watching, people grow along their own career path and become more skilled as project managers and start to implement projects that really had significant impacts for the organization. In terms of challenges, I think across all of those, I say people are always the biggest challenge, whether it's a project, program, a portfolio. I mean, each one comes with its own challenges when you're trying to build the product, service, or the result. There's generally ways that we can overcome challenges that we have when we're doing the work, but most of the challenges get presented just from dealing with people, because no two people are the same. We all have our different ways of communicating, of thinking, and our own ideas on how to do the work. So I would say most of the challenges came with just dealing with the people component of projects. And I would also say that was part of probably the most fun part of it as well.
Right. So let's get back to that fun part. You describe yourself as somebody that has fairly basic knowledge of technology, yet much of your project management experience has involved managing projects with a very strong technology component. Tell us how that worked.
Yeah, I mean, I am a self-professed technical idiot of sorts. As I mentioned, I have a business degree, and my focus was more on marketing and human resources, not technology. But again, just through the natural progression with my career. And I think back in the day, 20 years ago, project management was often associated with technical types of industries and projects. So I found myself in the technology industry in the early days of the internet. So there was all kinds of technological advances and changes. So, all I ever endeavored to do with my projects was to gain a working level understanding of the technical solution that we were creating, and rely on my subject matter experts, the ones who know how to do the work and were doing the work, to provide sort of that direction on what it needed to be done within the projects. And I think what served me well by not having that in-depth technical knowledge is that I would focus on the project at the high level. I would focus on managing the people and engaging with stakeholders and the subject matters, the ones that had that technical knowledge and the know-how, and I could hover and manage the project and be sort of the conductor of the orchestra of sorts. So
excellent. So it really emphasizes that being a successful project manager requires many skills. And surprising to a lot of people, I guess, being a technical expert in the area of the project management, the project itself isn't one of those skills that's the highest of highest importance. So if you had to choose of all the skills that you have, and you've got many, what is your superpower? What really makes you the successful project program and portfolio manager that you've become?
I would have to say, and I guess I'm going to phrase it as, if I want to say it as a superpower, it would be being able to sort of harness the powers of the sea. Not in a Poseidon sense, not in the sort of Greek concept, but sea as in, you know, communication, collaboration, courtesy, and consideration. I think we often think of skills as project managers as, you know, being able to put together a fantastic schedule and manage to the schedule and a budget, but without really strong abilities to engage with your stakeholders through communications, you know, supporting collaboration, extending courtesy and consideration to the stakeholders that you work with, you know, just having those pure technical skills is sometimes going to be perhaps a little bit of a challenge without some of those other superpowers that you can add to it.
Right. So while we're on the topic of superpowers, while you held the position of project manager, portfolio program manager, while you've been with World-Class Productivity, you also had a side business that you founded and were co-owner with, that on the surface at least has very little to do with project management. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I like to keep busy. So in addition to at that point in time sort of being in more executive roles, I've always had a very athletic background, and I ended up with a couple of others opening a strength and conditioning gym, gosh, back in 2009, and owned and ran that and helped people build healthier versions of themselves. From 2009 till I sold it to actually one of my coaches in 2017. So I don't know, it was something that I just found very, very rewarding, being able to take sort of my background in health and athletics and whatnot, and just use it to help other people kind of lead some healthier lives. And you know what, that's a project for all of us in sorts, and what it is that we want to achieve with our own goals. So yeah, on the surface, yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but we're all our own project. So I was able to hopefully help people manage their way through their own.
Right. Sounds good. And along with that theme of helping people with their own lives, with being able to manage projects, you also have recently expanded on your capabilities and have become a coach in emotional intelligence. And I guess the credential is formally an EQI 2.0 coach. Tell us a little bit about that and how that fits within the framework of project management, and how that might be able to be used together with how we help our clients.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's very much in line with, I guess, the people themed sort of approach that I have with project management. You know, we can't manage our projects without engaging with stakeholders. People are involved either directly in doing the work, or people we have to consult and keep informed. And I really think that there, at least in my opinion, needs to be more emphasis on the people skills part of project managers, although the technical skills are extremely important. Understanding our own skills that we have to communicate better, engage with stakeholders better is really important. And that's really what emotional intelligence is about. It's not about being emotional. It's about understanding that there is a set of social skills that we all have that we can leverage to interact better. And it's also about understanding how those skills affect your your problem solving abilities, your decision making abilities, how you build and use and leverage interpersonal relationships, which are all things that are very important as project managers. We have to solve problems. We need to make decisions. We need to build those relationships around the project as well. So yeah, I took an interest in, we call it EQI 2.0, which is basically there's a subset of 15 different social skills. And as an EQI 2.0 coach, we do an assessment with people, and it comes back and it tells you how you rank from sort of the top 3 to the bottom 3 of those social skills. So what we're able to do is to take and understand how the top 3 out of the 15 can be leveraged to further your abilities and make you a stronger project manager. And then also take a look at what the bottom 3 are, like we would call your blind spots, and understand how, if we put some goals in place and an action plan in place to improve on those skill sets, how that's going to help benefit you as a project manager.
Excellent.
So if I score low on, just for example, say stress tolerance, or low on impulse control, being very stress reactive coupled with low on impulse control, sort of that knee-jerk reaction, that may not always serve us best as project managers. So we can look at, how do you improve those things? How do you improve your ability to engage with your stakeholders through strengthening your social skills around fostering solid interpersonal relationships, things of that nature. So there's a lot that can be harnessed to, I think, sort of provide some coaching to help people develop and grow as project managers.
Absolutely. In fact, some of the biggest challenges I think most project managers face isn't so much on the technical, it's having to deal with all those people that are involved in the projects and learning how to do that successfully. So excellent. You've done a lot in your career, and in the training with world-class productivity, you get involved in helping people learn the professional project management from the very basic to the advanced level. You coach, you facilitate teams through various stages of their projects. What do you wish somebody would have told you very early on in your project management career to help you, that you wish others would have given to you so early on?
I think some of the advice that would have been helpful early on was understand that there's no one size fits all approach to managing projects. Everything is unique, which means we have to approach things. There's not a prescriptive sort of do A and then B and then C and then D that way to navigate through your project. So certainly that. And I think it's also important advice is to not underestimate the value of planning for risk in your projects. I think as new project managers, it's very easy to get caught up in the scheduling and the budgeting and what the work is that we have to do. But I think that good risk planning is one of your, because for lack of a better term, best lines of defense for your project. It's a good way to bubble wrap your project and try and anticipate all of the good things that could happen that we can leverage, but also try and anticipate all the things that could pose a threat to it, and then be as prepared as you can in advance.
Kristine, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. For those of you who'd like to know more about how world-class productivity can help you and your organization improve your project management capabilities, check us out at wcpconsulting.com or send us an email to info@wcpconsulting. Once again, Kristine, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.